Good evening. It is currently 20 past 10. I thought it was time to make another video. As I mentioned in my last video that I did a couple of weeks ago, I think, I said that I wanted to talk about a couple of other topics to sort of broaden the scope of what my content on my videos are about. So I'll sort of touch on that a little bit today, just to give a bit of an idea of where I'm sort of going. It all ties together though, regarding Nofap and that sort of stuff. But I want to talk about additional things as well, which does tie together towards things like self-development and all of that stuff. So, recently I've been doing, well, over about a few weeks, I suppose, I've been doing a bit of research into personality types, and I've been doing the famous Myers-Briggs personality type. And if you don't know what that is, do some research, because it may not make sense what I'm about to say, but for those who understand what I mean, then I don't really need to say much else. I will provide a link in the description if you want to find out a little bit more about what a Myers-Briggs personality test is. So anyway, I completed the personality test, and out of the 16 personalities, I'm an INFJ. I did do the test. I've done it a few times in the past, but I always come up with INFJ. Now, researching further into that, into my personality, of a characteristic behind INFJ types, it's given me the ability to sort of understand and interpret my feelings and my thoughts a lot better. Previously, until before I started researching it, I was of course experiencing a lot of thoughts and feelings and emotions, and always feeling a little bit weird and unusual as a person against other people, but not really knowing why, and not really understanding why I thought certain things or why I behaved a certain way. But it was until I suppose sort of discovered the fact that, well, not discovered, but when I researched into the characteristics behind why I think the way I think, and sort of be able to see how other people are also thinking the same way that I think. It's been able to help me put my feelings and emotions into perspective, and read how and why I'm feeling a certain way, or why I'm thinking a certain way. I've been able to do that a lot better over the last few weeks. Consequently, it's in relation to Nofap and all of that sort of thing, it's been able to help me understand my position in this sort of thing. And as I've said previously, we all have different reasons as to why we are doing Nofap and that sort of thing. But I know that from my judgment, from talking to other people about this myself and listening to other people discuss the same topic of their reason, I always knew that my reasoning was always a lot different to other people. Now for me, as someone that has an INFJ personality, I tend to my relationships and the people in my life mean a lot to me, and I devote a lot of myself to people, even if they don't really realise that I'm doing that. And when I meet new people and wish to construct relationships with people that I meet and things like that, as I've said previously, not everyone you meet will want to be your friend, right? But there are some people that I meet that I just want to get to know, and sometimes they don't really want to return that, and I can feel rejected from that. And as a result, because I felt rejected from things, I would turn to other things. I would turn to inappropriate things, or things that weren't all that healthy. And you can apply that principle to anything, really, to any kind of source that is SOURCE, source, not SAU, not the source that you're. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting off topic. So so basically, because I'm trying to devote myself to people in terms of putting a lot of myself into relationships and friendships, that sort of thing. When I meet up with someone new, male or female, tends to more be female for me, and they're not interested in wanting to be my friend, then or talk to me, or that's fine. As I said, people are like that, but I tend to take things really quite personal. Um, People rejecting me, or people not wanting to talk to me, or things like that. A lot of the times when someone doesn't want to talk to me or they don't respond, I always think there's something wrong with me, or something like that. And because I can feel very alone at times, you know, I can. It's enough to put you in a position where you will sort of, take alternatives, or go for um, another grade below, I suppose, if that makes sense. So I suppose that explains why I tend to turn, most of the time I tend to turn towards the PMO related stuff. In the past especially, was that I felt rejected by someone, especially a girl. If I felt rejected, or misunderstood, or or just not on the same level as someone else, it would upset me in a way, and I would turn to an alternative in a way that I would, in a way where I could feel like I was understood, in a way. It's kind of strange, but turning to PMO stuff, it it was, it's artificial, but it's kind of like forced. I can't really put it like that. It's like if I went out to a garden, for instance, and I wanted to have a look at a garden, but it's like the middle of winter, and there's no flowers out, there's no leaves on the trees or anything like that. It's like totally dead, right? So if I want to go and have a look at a garden and the garden's just dead, then what I can do as an alternative is to look at like plastic flowers, or like look at pictures of gardens, things, if that sort of makes sense. So although I can't actually get something out of the what's real and what's actually there, although I can't derive anything out of it, or put anything into it, then you can turn and you can go for another source that's pretend, that may look like the right thing, but in the end it's not. It's hard to explain, but basically, for me, that's where the roots of it really is most of the time. Is that if I feel too upset or too misunderstood, or about the people around me, or too alone, then I'll still be, I'll still want that sort of thing in my life, but I would, settle for second best, which of course is not actually good at all. That's what it's like. So I'm beginning to, I suppose, take that on board a lot more now when I talk to people. When I talk to someone, or when I try and interact with people, and if I feel like someone doesn't want to talk to me back, or if or whatever, then, and if I feel upset or rejected or whatever, I'm able to recognize the reason as to why I feel like that, and that's been really helpful for me, because it's allowed me, or it's allowing me to not settle for second best. You know what I mean? It's allowed me to sort of keep my focus and say, this feeling that I'm feeling is just, it's a part of how I'm interpreting the interaction. Whether it's true or false, I don't know. But the fact is, after I've talked to someone and then I've, felt a certain way, I can sort of, I can allow myself to understand the reasons as to why I'm feeling like that. And if I can understand why I felt like that, then it allows me to put things into perspective. So then that way I'm not changing my focus to look at things that aren't right. Does that make sense? I suppose this may only make sense to people that are INFJ and are also on Nofap. And I think there are a couple, because I was actually watching a video from an INFJ person, not Nofap related. It was actually about INFJ personalities, and there was someone from the Nofap community that had commented on this INFJ video, and I was thinking, wow, of all the places on the internet or YouTube for me to find someone from the Nofap community, it would be here. Like, that was a bit of a coincidence, but it made me think that if I can sort of tie these two things together, which is INFJ personality, Nofap lifestyle, if I can sort of string them two together, that may be of some help to people, maybe, perhaps, whether in the INFJ community or the Nofap community, I don't know. But I thought I'd try this anyway, just to sort of explain my thinkings behind it, and maybe just provide something a little bit different to the normal sort of content you get for a Nofap video. Anyway, I'll leave it there, and I will endeavour to think of more things to talk about in the future in a similar vein, and see how that goes.